Our next guest calls it. Please welcome to the show, Keith Fitz-Gerald. Thank you very much for being on the show, Keith. 33 million people left since the spring of 2021. Now, we've got jobs expectations of between, say, 150 and 200,000, whatever you want to read. That seems like a low number considering how many people have left the workforce and how many openings we have.
Well, I would agree with you. If you go by history, a huge number of people have just simply walked out the door, never to return. Economically, this is a bug in search of a windshield because if we don't get people back to work, our companies are not going to be able to do the work.
Where do you think they've gone? I mean, this is one of those things that I don't have an answer for, and I'm not going to pretend to. I mean, I can come up with some excuses if I had to take a test on it right now, but where do you think all these people have gone? I mean, I know the pandemic has really rewritten the way we live and work, but it can't all be that, can it?
Well, I'm not smart enough to answer that question, but I do tell you what I see and what I actually like about this. Never mind the politics, the supplements, who's staying at home, all of that kind of stuff. What I see is an increasing drive to entrepreneurship. So I'm seeing a lot of people in our area, and when I get out and talk to people who are starting new businesses, who are thinking about how they're going to define their future, that's pretty cool because what it means is we're going to get to redefine relationships that we thought we understood. The markets always respond positively to that. Maybe not immediately, but over time.
All right, I think I said this stat to you one time earlier, maybe last week, but money supply. We've got a ton of cash out there. We've thrown trillions and trillions of dollars at this issue, and it's called the pandemic, right? For relief, whether or not that was needed, doesn't matter. It's just out there. So since the beginning of the country, since America was born to today, about 1/3 of the dollars out there have been printed within the last 2 years. Are they finding their way to the stock market?
I think they're certainly finding their way into leverage relationships. That's a lot of what's happened here. But I think that, the other part of the problem is that people don't understand how leveraged the stock market is. The average individual sees the volatility, but doesn't know what's driving it. So when rates rise, it's the leveraged traders and the computers that take things for a go, not the normal investors. So all of that money has found its way in, but it's found its way in not the way you'd think. It's not just simply buying stocks. It's via leverage, which is then buying stocks. That makes for a more volatile ride.
All right, so talk to me about this for a second, and I might be a little bit too close to the fire here, but prices are just going up, and it's just a bad time to be buying anything, really. I mean, you're going to have to race everybody else to get it, and now especially when it comes to, say, food and fuel. Are we seeing a lot of those excess dollars show up in those types of things? I mean, we're just not caring about the price, we're just buying it, or is this a general shortage? Are you going to blame it on supply chain, or is it kind of a little bit of everything?
Well, I think it's a little bit of everything, but there's a point you hadn't mentioned, which is people have to buy it. They don't have a choice if they want to keep a roof over their head, medicine in their cabinet, food on their table. They have to buy this stuff. And so you've got all this extra money sloshing around in the system. And the Econ 101 says when you got too much money, prices are going to go up. That's what the Beltway boffins don't understand, is they've created this mess by giving too much money into the system. Now, again, take stimulus off the table, take supplements off the table, take support off the table. All those things are desperately needed. But how you get that back out and reduce this chain, I have no idea. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, and you know what? Those things were always there anyway, kind of. I mean, maybe they've gotten a little bit more today than they had been before, but not enough to make that 10.9 million Joel's number be as high as it is. And so the last thing I'll ask you is this. I mean, how many rate hikes are you on for this year, and operationally, can they get it done?
Well, I got to tell you, I was 5 mid last summer, and everybody thought that I'd lost my marbles. But now the narrative has changed to 5, 6, 7. I've even seen 8 floated out there.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to get it done, but they've got to get it done because we've got to put the brakes on this inflation. Either that or the market is going to do the Fed's job first.
And can they stop the inflation? Can they carve out the inflation without hurting the economy?
I'm not smart enough to answer that question. It's above my pay grade.
It's not fair. I apologize, but I think that the volatility in the market is telling you that most investors / speculators don't really think that that's going to be able to get done, and I worry about that. And another thing that we're going to talk about after the next break is that I will lay away worrying about things that can really upset the apple cart here. And if we don't see these food prices go down and we don't see these fuel prices go down, the things that you just said we need and have to buy, is that going to negate these interest rate hikes?
Again, that's the hope, but that's economic voodoo as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
Real money counts, and right now, millions of Americans need to get back to work, want to go back to work, need to put a roof over their head. To me, it's needs versus wants, and I'll go with needs every day because I'm going to support every single one of these new entrepreneurs I've just met in recent weeks.
Oh, and my last comment is this, Keith. If we've got 10.9 million jobs out there, I got to think, in my America. Now, I've been in this job for 35 years. I remember us posting 6, 7, 800,000 job gains in a normal time, not post pandemic when we're restarting all these businesses. We got to start printing numbers like that to kind of catch up, I would have thought.
Well, I'm with you on that one. Back in the day, you'd have 4, 5, 600,000 job
Sure.
openings and think this is fabulous. The fact that we're getting excited over 125, 150, yeah, I don't know how to interpret that one. There's going to be some adjustment there.
I mean, it's almost like a rounding error with a country this big that we're even talking about
Yep.
150,000 jobs. Just to me, that doesn't make sense. And like I said, as my father would say, every time I lost a couple of pounds, he'd say that's like a suitcase off the Queen Mary. Well, I'd say that with these jobs in the same vein. All right. So I really appreciate you being on the show today. That's Keith Fitz-Gerald. You're awesome, man, and I really love your content. Thank you. All right, let's take a look.
Hi, it's Keith here. Thanks for checking out today's highlight clip. What'd you think? Did I make sense? Is there something you'd like to add? Make sure you leave a comment down below, and of course, click subscribe to keep up right here on YouTube, or sign up for the email newsletter at the link below. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram for my real-time thoughts on markets, analysis, and a whole lot more.